Hi everyone, today I'm going to walk you through a resume development workshop designed for current students and new graduates. So this is going to be a multi-part series that will discuss what you need to incorporate into your resume to stand out in a competitive job market. So whether you're a freshman just starting to think about your career or a senior preparing to graduate, this workshop is going to provide you with practical tips to help you succeed and help you stand out. So let's talk about applicant tracking systems, ATS. What does that mean and why are people always talking about it? So, applicant tracking systems is software used by companies to organize information and store information about applicants. So, it scans resumes that are submitted online. It extracts key information like contact details, job titles, education, relevant keywords. Resumes that meet the criteria are passed on to recruiters and hiring managers, while others are filtered out. So, ensuring your resume is ATS friendly improves your chance of getting noticed. So, let's talk about what to do in order to do that. So, the basics are formatting. You want to include and use a clean and simple format that's easy for both humans and applicant tracking systems to read. So, avoid fancy templates with lots of graphics or multiple columns, as they can be distracting and may not be ATS friendly. An ATS system, as I mentioned, scans your resume to extract this information. So if you have an ATS friendly resume, it increases not only the chance of getting your resume looked at by a human, but it also saves you time in that application process. So rather than entering in each individual job that you've had in your work experience, it can extract that information if it's in a format that can be extracted easily. So, some of the ways that you can do that are to use clear section labels. So, if you wanted to extract your work experience, that section should be labeled work experience, for example. You're going to avoid columns and tables and graphics. You're also going to keep it between 1 to 3 pages in length. We're going to talk a lot more about how to include the heavy hitting information rather than everything in follow up videos, but make sure to keep it concise. You're going to use black text on a white background. That makes it easy for ATS and humans to read. You're going to choose fonts that are reader friendly. You're also going to use font sizes that are reader friendly. So between 10 to 12 points. Don't shrink it down to 6 points or 8 points in order to fit more things onto one page. It's better to go onto 2 pages than to make the font size really tiny. And you're also going to incorporate keywords from the job ad when it makes sense and is relevant for your past work experiences. And second to last point, you're going to save your resume as a .doc or .docx or .pdf, and that's going to ensure optimal compatibility. And then lastly, you want to pay close attention to your template. So Canvas has templates for presentations, videos, flyers, and more that are great for students. However, I recommend avoiding their templates, even though they look great. As you can see, Canvas templates use graphics and columns, and you want to avoid those. So use simple templates that are more likely to be ATS and human compatible, even if they don't look as nice. And then the last thing that is very overlooked, and this is not to do with like ATS friendliness, this is just to do with professionalism. This is talking about the file name that you're going to save this with. So rather than saving this as resume update, use this one, or final resume exclamation point. I've seen many different file names for resumes for students over the years. You want to save it using your last name, resume, include the name of the job or the organization you're applying for. It shows that you've personalized your resume. It's also incredibly professional. So this is a very simple but overlooked step for most people applying for jobs, and this just demonstrates your attention to detail and your organizational skill. And it just also ensures that you're standing out in this sea of applications and making a positive first impression. So let's talk about key sections of a resume. Personal details, headline, professional summary, professional experience, education, hard skills. We're going to talk about personal details and headline in this video, and we'll talk about the other ones in follow-up videos, but these are the sections that we're going to include in our resume. Your personal details should include your name, first and last, cell phone number, professional email, so not Sharkboy 1996. You're going to include something that ideally has your name in it. You're also going to include your LinkedIn account as well as your city and state. So you don't need your apartment number or house number and street. You just need to include your city and state there. So, LinkedIn account link. Let's talk about why you're going to include that information. Including a LinkedIn link can boost your chances of getting noticed. So, research by Resume Go found that job applicants who included a link to a comprehensive or complete LinkedIn profile on their resumes received a callback rate of 13.5%, which is 71% higher than the 7.9% callback rate of job applicants who didn't have a LinkedIn profile at all or didn't have a complete LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about what that means to have a comprehensive LinkedIn profile. It means a professional headshot. It means detailed work experience. It means meaningful connections. So let's take a look at an example. So this is a profile of a first-year graduate student in the Industrial Organizational Psych Master's Program here at UTC. Her profile includes a professional headshot, a headline. It also includes, she's here up to 397 connections, people in the field of industrial organizational psych, an about summary that includes quantifiable metrics. You can see there 50% reduction in onboarding time, implementation of 100 plus training programs. You can also go down and you'll see work experience. So at this point, the students had a variety of different internship positions, graduate teaching assistant positions. And when you click on each of those, you're seeing quantifiable metrics that we'll talk about in video 3. You're seeing not just this is what I did, but this is what I achieved. And this is how I contributed to this company or to this professor or whatever it was that they were doing. Your headline, that's at the top of your LinkedIn profile, it's at the top of your resume. This is one of the first things that people see after your name. So you want it to communicate key information about you and help convince a hiring manager to take the time to look at you more closely. One mistake that many job seekers make is using the default headline that lists your current position. So for students, that might be student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga or line cook at Buffalo Wild Wings. You definitely don't want those because that's not going to entice someone to learn more about you. Instead, you want your headline to include the following types of information. You want it to state your target career, communicate your unique value proposition, include marketable skills, and highlight measurable metrics. Let's look at what that looks like for an undergraduate student without a lot of experience. Here, target career, aspiring school psychologist, measurable metric, 3 years of childcare experience, value proposition, target career, seeking school-based practicum experience. If you're looking for an internship or a practicum, that's valuable to potential employers because that means you will either be free labor or low-cost labor, which is valuable for them. And you may also be labor that if they invest in you, you could turn into a full-time employee down the road and save them money on recruitment and onboarding and things like that. So including that information can be helpful. Here's another example. Aspiring clinical psychologist, that's the target career, measurable metric, 2 years research experience, marketable skills, skilled with SPSS, JASP, and Excel. And it could be other programs if you're familiar with R or Python or any of those other programs. So incorporating those into your headline can be really helpful. Here, driven psychology student on Dean's List, 2 years healthcare experience, seeking ASHA certified SLP clinical observation. So again, including the information that's relevant for you. Here's an example from a past student. So Cassie, here you can see psychology student, 4+ years of experience, aspiring therapist. So again, we've got the quantifiable metrics there. We've got the target career. We've got the value proposition here. And here with Bethany did hers a little bit differently. So we've got aspiring journalist up top, and then we've got those important skills that are relevant for her field listed underneath. Adobe Creative Suite proficiency, well-versed in AP style, experience with blocks. So those are all relevant and great to highlight there. So ChatGPT can help you build a strong resume headline by generating ideas based on the information that you provide. And so here's the rub with this is that it's only going to be as good as you let it be. And by that, I mean you have to give it the information it needs to be good. So let me show you what that isn't. So this is a generic prompt. What are examples of compelling resume headline for a sophomore undergraduate student majoring in psych who's interested in a future career in counseling? Here are examples of headlines that were provided by ChatGPT. Dedicated psych student, eager to make a positive impact in counseling. Aspiring counselor, psychology major with a passion for helping others. Nothing wrong with these, but they're also not going to necessarily elevate you because you're not selling yourself here. You're not including quantifiable metrics, value proposition. You're just talking about your target career, not what you can do for them. Here's another example. It's essentially the same prompt, but it's saying who's applying for human resource internship position. So some of the headline options ChatGPT provided: psych major seeking HR internship, bridging people and organizations, aspiring HR professional, psych undergrad ready to learn and grow. Again, nothing bad about these necessarily, but again, they're fairly generic. And when everyone is going to be going to AI and having AI help with resumes, if you want to stand out, you need to do that extra step. It's not enough just to have AI do it. You want to edit it, or you want to make sure that you're giving AI the information that it needs to do its job well. So instead, to get better headlines that will elevate you above others that are also using AI to create their resumes, you need to provide more detailed information. So to do this, you're going to write down your key skills, experiences, the type of job you're applying for. You're going to list any achievements or unique qualities you have, and you're going to put that in. So here's a more structured prompt. I need help crafting a compelling LinkedIn profile headline or resume headline that includes my target career. You're going to insert that there, unique value proposition, marketable skills, insert that there, and measurable metrics, insert that there. You could also copy and paste your work experience if you already have that available and completed. So let's take a look at how this works when you're inputting this into ChatGPT. So here I am copying and pasting that. I have the target career, high school teacher, undergraduate student on dean's list, camp counselor, 5 years community volunteer experience. And so here's an example ChatGPT gave me. Not bad, but it's pretty long. So remember that ChatGPT it's a chat. You can chat with it. So here I'm saying, can you provide with 5 alternatives and make them more concise? And so here I'm being given 5 additional ones, but now you can see with this: aspiring educator, dean's list undergrad, summer camp leader, community advocate. Nothing bad, but those metrics are now gone. And so I'm asking ChatGPT to put it back in. Please integrate measurable metrics into them. And now it's going to put that 5-year community advocate back in there. And so what you can do is you can mix and match, use this, have conversations, tell it what you don't like, what you do like. If you're like, ooh, none of these are really hitting, ask it for 5 more, ask it for 10 more, ask it to like what types of things would be good to incorporate. Remember, it's a conversation. It's only going to do as well as you let it. So in the following videos, we're going to talk about what to do about inputting your education. That's pretty straightforward. We're going to talk a little bit more about your professional summary. And then part 3, we're going to talk about work and volunteer experience. How do we quantify that? What does that look like? We're also going to talk about skills. Should we include them? What ones should we include? And so forth. So let me know if you have any comments, questions for me, and I will see you in part 2.